I will learn to strike, I will learn to fly. I will learn to kill, I don't learn to die.
Beat Cop. That's right, we're getting into it. Beat Cop, it's a cool little pixel adventure game that I've been playing over the last... Well, I took a break, but I played it quite consistently for a couple of weeks, about a month or so ago. It's a lot of fun. It's not a brand new game. It came out about a couple of years ago on PC. It came out earlier this year on Switch, but I've been playing it on PC. Just finally got to it, heard some cool stuff about it when going through some old podcast episodes of Super Best Friend Cast. And yeah, it's pretty awesome. It takes place in the 80s, so you play as a detective who's been disgraced and kicked off the detective force, whatever. Anyways, demoted is a better way to put it, probably, from being a detective to a beat cop. So he gets assigned to his little slum in New York City, and it's got a few bits that might be sensitive for some people. Quote unquote area appropriate racism, sexism as well, kind of driving home the point of how things were in the 80s, not necessarily justifying them, just kind of being, again, era appropriate in terms of representation of how, again, things were back in the 80s. It's got a great soundtrack, of course, being 80s themed, as many games that are influenced or take place in the 80s do have. It's such an amazing era for music. So it's got really good soundtrack and some fun gameplay. They mix mundane police tasks with like exciting side quests that you can do. There's a main quest that's going on in the background in a way. It's weird to say that the main quest is going on in the background, but when you play it, you'll see what I mean, where you get your daily assignments, but you also are trying to, or given the option to solve the mystery behind what happened when you were, again, framed in the opening sequence. So you can do that. There's a ton of different endings you can go with. For example, one of the options that's proposed to you early in the game, so I can say it now and I wouldn't consider too heavily the spoilers, that rather than solve the mystery of you being framed, you can just run away to Mexico, put away, decent amount of money. Some guy will come back to hook you up with that, and if you'd like to, you could just go that route, and then that would be one of the endings that you can get in the game. There's pretty good humor in it. Again, it has some pretty funny moments. There's a daily briefing that happens in between each case that has, it's kind of stupid for the most part, but again, it's got some pretty good moments too. It's humorous sometimes, as well as being really cringy at other times. You can also make several decisions to kind of be the kind of cop you're trying to be. You could be, crooked cop, take bribes to get people out of tickets, and also help other factions. There is the mafia, the Italian mafia, and then the black gang that you can help, and you have to balance your relationships with, as well as your standing with the police as well, by not being too corrupt or getting caught being corrupt. You definitely don't want that. There are several fail states you can get if you do not play properly, as well as events that you can trigger by having too much of one faction favor or unfavor or another. But it's really cool. There's a lot of flexibility in how you can play the game, and because of that, you can get all the different optional endings that way. I'm sure there's a fully case solved and back on the force good ending, but as far as the game lets you, there are several ways that, and it gets pretty open to giving you options, and it's not so linear, which is kind of cool, unless you're the type of person that really does like having their hand held to the end, or having a definitive finish to your game of how, the ending you're supposed to get canonically. But again, it's a lot of fun. It's $15, unless you get it on sale, of course, but the MSRP, $15 on PC, Android, iOS, Xbox One, PS4, and most recently, as of earlier this year, Switch. It's definitely a game I'd advise picking up. I had a lot of fun playing it. I don't know how it controls on console, because again, I played with mouse and keyboard, or just mouse really is the only control type on PC, and it's a lot of fun. I definitely suggest picking it up. Well worth the $15, and it's from a studio called Pixel Crow. I never, as far as I know, I didn't play any of their other games, but this one is definitely worth checking out to support that studio. Yeah, it's good game. Beat Cop. Definitely check it out.